Hey church, it's Siobhan here, and I just want to bring you an encouraging thought today. So I want to talk about a short passage that's in Acts, and it talks about a guy called Felix. And Felix was the governor of Judea and Samaria, and so he was a guy that had a fair amount of power, a fair amount of authority, but he was a cruel man. And the passage that I'm going to read is where he's actually in charge of deciding Paul's fate. So Paul has been arrested because he's been accused of causing riots, and so it's Felix that is actually here to kind of decide his fate. So I just want to read from Acts 24, verse 24 to 25, and it says, "A few days later, Felix came back with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish. Sending for Paul, they listened as he told them about faith in Jesus Christ. As he reasoned with them about righteousness and self-control and the coming day of judgment, Felix became frightened. 'Go away for now,' he replied. 'When it is more convenient, I'll call for you again.'" And I just wanted to kind of share this passage because what I think is really interesting is that Felix wasn't actually a man of faith, and he had initially heard Paul talking, and he then calls Paul back to tell him a bit more about Jesus. There's something that maybe intrigues him, something that makes him want to hear a bit more. So he calls Paul back in to speak more about who Jesus is. But actually, as he's doing that, Felix gets really afraid, and he says this line, "I'll call for you when it's more convenient." And the reason why I kind of wanted to share from that today is that, if I'm completely honest with you, when it comes to doing things like this, whether it's preaching or sharing a thought like this, I always feel like there's a little bit of pressure to share something that I'm good at. Something to share a thought that's something that I feel like I've mastered or that I've overcome, a story of fear to faith. Those kind of stories. But actually, if I'm completely honest with you, I feel like there's a lot about the Bible and a lot about Jesus' teaching that I am very far from saying that I've completely cracked it and that I live in that way every day. And I think if we're all honest, we'd probably say that we all feel like that. That, we can read a passage one day and feel like that's what we're going to do today, and we maybe manage that, but then we get to the next day and it's a real struggle to remain fearless, or to step out with bold, courageous faith, or even just to be kind. And in this passage, I think what's interesting is that Felix hears the message of Jesus and he's convicted. He realizes that this message means life transformation, that what Paul's saying about Jesus, it isn't just nice words, but it's something that needs to be followed with, action. It needs to be followed with some kind of transformation, and that scares him. And I think that we can all feel like that sometimes. We can all feel like we're so far from being able to achieve some of the things that Jesus says that is life and life to the full, that we can find it so hard to live lives full of faith. But in this passage, Felix makes a poor decision, and that decision is that he chooses to send Paul away until the time is more convenient. And I think it's normal for us all to have moments where we feel overcome by God's word and feel like it's something that we can't kind of step into. But I think the real power lies in what we choose to do in that moment. Do we choose to be people that say, actually, God, I'm not ready to hear this right now, can you come back later? And maybe that time never comes. Or whether we're people that actually choose to surrender. And so the thought I want to encourage you with today is, the secret is surrender. I don't think God expects us to be able to do everything in our own strength. In fact, I know that he doesn't expect us to do everything in our own strength. But actually, the secret to a fulfilling life, the secret to flourishing in our life, is actually when we choose to surrender what we have to God. And in this moment, Felix is given that opportunity. He is scared about what life may look like. He feels like it's a huge step going and taking that step to believe in Jesus. But instead of surrendering, he chooses to send Paul away. And this morning, I wonder whether there's maybe parts of our lives where we've got that decision to make, whether we want to keep, saying, God, see you later, I'll call you back when it's more convenient, or actually whether we're willing to say, I don't really know how I'm going to achieve that kind of life transformation. I don't really know what the next step looks like, but I'm willing to surrender it to you, God. I'm willing to allow you to take me on that journey and to kind of show me what the next step is and take me forward. So that's the thought I want to leave you with today, that the secret is surrender. So wherever it is that you feel like life's too much, maybe what God is calling you to do is a step too far, it's something that you're not capable of, take comfort in the fact that everyone feels like that at one moment in time, but also that, we have the opportunity just to surrender that to God and to allow him to take us on that journey, instead of trusting that we're going to get ourselves to where we're meant to be, that we can allow God to take us there.